Hi guys, and welcome to Composition over Inheritance. Firstly, notice I've upgraded to 4.13.1 in this video at the top right of the slide here. That's why it's gone yellow just for this slide, because I've made a change. So we have created our patrolling guard at the moment by inheritance. If we have a look at our code in testing grounds, patrollingguard.cpp or .h would be better. We've inherited from the third person character and made this new guard, and all he does is patrol. It's always a bit of a warning sign when you specializing like this, because how about if we wanted a patrolling tank or a patrolling drone or something else? We're specializing this behavior into the garden. What I want you to do in this video is get some real world first-hand experience in Unreal of the difference between composition and inheritance. So we've used inheritance, we've done it here, and what we want to do is just convert this to a component model. So what will happen at the end of that is that when you go to your third person character, you will be able to add a new component called a patrol route. And then when you go to an instance of that character, like this dude here, he will have a patrol route component on him, and you will be able to add waypoints to that. And then he will iterate through those waypoints rather than having this variable that we have at the moment directly on the character. It will be on one of his components, which makes more sense. Just like character movement has things that relate to movement, the patrol route will have things that relate to the patrol route. And it's as if it's a piece of paper in his pocket or something loaded onto his tablet with the route that he should be following. So this challenge will be a nice integration of the knowledge you've had so far. That slide there is just a summary of what I have just said. So let's go straight into the challenge. Create an actor component, move the patrol points array to the component, add the new component to the guard's blueprint, get the patrol points from the component, no longer from the variable that's created on the patrolling guard. And you may want to reparent as well your blueprint of your third-person character back to the third-person character, the vanilla one. And don't bother deleting the patrolling guard class. We'll make that the subject of another video. So go ahead, pause the video and see if you can get that lot done now. Welcome back. Let's start by creating our C++ class. So it's a fairly vanilla class here. It's actually in the list for once. We don't even have to click up here. So actor component, and let's go ahead and call it patrol route. Oops. Or route if you're American. There you go. So there comes the patrol route. So it's going to compile up some C++ code, write us some boilerplate. And actually, most of that boilerplate we can get rid of. It's going to probably produce us things talking about ticks and begin play and stuff like that. We don't need any of that. We can just have a very thin, simple, plain class. So let's go ahead and look at what it's made us. It's made us a CPP file with loads of stuff in it. And we can reduce that down by deleting everything in the patrolroute.cpp below the hash includes. And in the .h, we can basically give it the same treatment. We can get rid of all of these public declarations. Okay, so what are we going to have? Well, let's start with the data. We're going to have a private piece of data, which is exactly the same as we had on the patrolling guard. I won't remove what's on the patrolling guard. We're going to be deleting this class later, and I want to keep things running as much as possible. So I'm just going to pop the same array across here into the patrolroute.h, but this time I am actually going to do what we told ourselves to do over on the old patrollingguard.h, and I'm going to create myself a getter. So the getter is pretty simple. It returns the array. It should just simply be called getPatrol points, because why would you complicate it? And then we're going to make it const, because we don't want this the call to this method to be changing any member variables. It should just be getting them, not modifying them. So this const, as you know, will check for that. All right, let's go ahead and implement this getter method then. That can just go straight in here with the class name, which is uPatrolRoute. U because it inherits, or because it's a component, it doesn't inherit from actor directly. Colon, not at, and we're nearly there. The getter is incredibly simple. It's literally just going to return the patrol points CPP. Now, whether we still want to call this CPP, I think we don't. So I'm just going to rename it patrol points in here and there, because I don't need to be able to differentiate it anymore over in the inspector, because it is going to be, rather than being right next to the other patrol point like this is, in a moment it's going to be on a component, and a lot more easy to differentiate between them. So let's see if we can get this guy compiling as a starting point. So let's hit compile. I can show you the code changes we've made so far if you like over here in the source control, make life a little easier for you. We've written that very simple little method there, return, and we have just made a declaration of a couple of things. So I heard a good sound just then. That was compile complete, which is good news. So we play the game. What happens? He continues his previous behavior. Why is he doing that? Well, he's doing that simply because there's no reason for him not to, right? We haven't actually changed any code. We've added stuff, but we haven't reparented him. We haven't stopped that other code running just yet. So on the third person character blueprint now, I'm going to search for patrol, and there is now a patrol route component. Fantastic. And then if I compile that, and save it. Unreal didn't crash on the compile, which is nice. Now let's check Steve and see if he has it. He does. Even though he was already instantiated in the world, Unreal has been nice enough to add the patrol route component on for us, and we can actually start populating that right now with a couple of things. So I'll just put a couple of different patrol points in here now. But bear in mind, your designer may forget to put patrol points in here. And in fact, somebody may even come along and fiddle and take this patrol route component off here altogether. So we need to handle both of those cases. So now that I've mentioned that and thought of it, it's now immediately now that I need to deal with putting a to-do in for that. So in choose next waypoint, I'm going to say protect against empty patrol routes. Yep, but we should also to-do protect against no patrol route component. Now you might ask, why don't we do create default subobject, I think was the command we used. Let's have a look. I'll show you a little trick while we're here. If ever you want to find some code we've written before, you can go to the repository on GitHub like this, and then you can just search for something like, I think it was create default subobject, that was the one. And if you do that, it'll show you all the lectures in which we used create default subobject. Now, that allowed us to actually add a component in C++, if you remember. And you might say, well, why don't we just add this patrol route in C++? Well, we could. But the reason we're not is because we're going to reparent this blueprint. Instead of being to patrolling guard, we're going to move it back to just the third-person character in a bit as soon as we've modified the code. So in this case, we're going to protect differently. So let's get on with that right away. Let's go and find this component. So in order to find the component, we don't need to hash include patrolling guard anymore, which is good because it means the AI waypoint behavior is no longer coupled to specifically a patrolling guard, but we are going to have to hash include the new thing we just created, which is the patrol route .h. Okay, which means that choosing a next waypoint relies on that actor having the actor component of a patrol route, which is okay. All right, so let's protect against a no patrol route component. So how do we do that? Well, let's have a look what we've already got down here. We go and get the owner, AI owner, that's fine. We find the control pawn, I think that's fine. Let's break it down now. Let's come here and say auto patrol route equals controlled pawn. Now you could write this in all one line. I'm just breaking it down, almost too much, but it's simple enough. Patrol route equals patrolled pawn. Now we can actually find component by class. Now we know the class is a patrol route. It understands patrol route now. Now we should have the patrol route straight away. So this would be a good time to check and see if the patrol route even exists. But by the way, if this is too many declarations for you, too many intermediate variables, what you can do is you can just, of course, say AI controller get pawn. You could do all that if you want. I don't think that reads as clearly. So you could skip that out altogether, this definition here. You could do the same here. You could say control pawn owner comp. Let's do that as an intermediate. Let's just say that arrow. And off we go. All right, so you don't have to have quite so many intermediates there. And then we don't need the AI controller. So that's a bit less code. Less code that does the same thing is always good. All right, now let's protect. So this patrol route is a pointer to an array that may have no elements in it. It may have several elements in it. So we're just going to say if not ensure patrol route, then we need to do something sensible. Well, with an ensure, we just get out of here, of course, because anything we log won't get logged. But we need to return failed. So because we can't just return in here, because this whole method wants an ebt node result. So we return ebt, if I can type, which I'm really struggling with right now, ebt node it is, ebt node result, : failed, because of course it's failed if we have not got a patrol route. And then our ensure statement will fire off and tell us that we've got a problem here. Cool. So let's imagine then if we get this far that we actually have got a patrol route. So this whole thing becomes get patrol route. We have protected against a no patrol route component altogether. Then the next thing we need to do is go off the patrol route and get the patrol points. Well, we don't need this guy here, but the patrol points become simply the patrol route, and then we use its getter, which is get patrol points. Perfect. Now, we should protect against empty patrol routes, which is that comment there. So let's go ahead and warn about empty patrol routes. So I'm going to choose a warning in this case. It's not the end of the world if you put a guy on with no patrol routes. So I'm going to say if patrol points.num, which remember with an array is the way of finding out how large it is, equals 0, then what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to use a UE log. Let's see if we've already got a UE log in here somewhere. In fact, it can be helpful occasionally to do a search of your whole project for UE_log and just see where else you have logs. There's not a single one in the whole project. That's probably good. We don't want to leave too many logs hanging around. So UE log, log temp, whoa, what's wrong with my fingers? Log temp, warning, and then text. And then I won't put the actor name right now, but a guard is missing patrol points. Now you could put the actor name in there and that would make sense. And then if that happens, we are also going to need to return failed. Okay, so we've done all of our protection there now. Now we can hopefully come along and say, okay, well, if this has worked, then we've got our patrol points and we can go on and use them. Let's see if all this code compiles. And if it compiles, I will show you what I did in SourceTree. Okay, so it's compiled. Let me just show you the code again. Probably in SourceTree may be easier for you. So the header file hasn't changed, patrol route hasn't changed, but choose next waypoint has had all of these changes. So I'll see if I can put them on the screen for you. Remember, by the way, I keep saying this recently, but you can always go to the GitHub repository. Well, actually, the easiest way to find the lecture code changes is either just to browse manually to the commits here, or every single lecture has lecture code changes as a link right to the very lecture's code changes. So that's super easy. It's in the resources of the course. So let's see if this is working now. What happens if we try and play? Well, this guy starts his patrol. Now I've removed the code that was using the previous patrolling guard class. Why don't I go ahead and reparent this guy to third person character. I'm going to reparent. I'm going to compile, save. I'm going to save everything because it may crash now. And let's try playing. Oh, off he goes. Now he's patrolling. That's good news. Now, is he patrolling between the things we want him to patrol between? Well, let's find out. Let's add upstairs into the mix. So, upstairs. And let's play. Here he goes. He's running over there. Over there. And then it looks like he's going for upstairs. Wicked. So we have changed to a component architecture. Final thing I'm going to do is check for to-dos. Well, there's one here, but I'll get rid of it in the patrollingguard.h, but that's okay because we are actually going to delete that class anyway. Let's also see if we can use the task list, which is built into Visual Studio, or you could just do a search. It's probably safer even to just do a search in the project for to-do, and you could do that in Xcode as well. There are no more to-dos, which is great. I think what I would like to do on patrolroute.h here is to pop in just a quick description here. So if you look at patrollingguard.h, you can see this comment format above the U class. So we can just come in here and just say a route card to help AI choose their next waypoint. Something like that. Give some information. I also haven't filled out my project copyright settings. You should do that in your project settings. It doesn't really matter for this tutorial. So that's great. I'm going to save everything, commit, and I will see you in the next video.